So today we're diving into the practice that blends philosophy and energy and facial features, East Asian facial reading. And today we're looking through the lens of the metal element. The metal element shapes our personality and our strengths and even our destiny. Stick around as we talk more about the metal element. The metal element is associated with clarity and precision, discipline and strength. It is linked to the season of the autumn or fall and the emotion of grief and inspiration and letting go. The organs of the lung and the large intestine. People with strong metal elements tend to be natural leaders, philosophical. They value order and precision. I think about the black and white images created by Ansel Adams, this stark beauty without a lot of adornments. In a lot of cases, his imagery was black and white and wintertime, where what's left is the stark beauty of the tree with no adornments. Or it could also be the fall season where all of the colors are exploding as they're moving into death. If you or someone you know has a strong metal element, there will be well-defined bone structures of the face. Strong, well-defined, precise, chiseled nose. High cheekbones suggest strength, discipline, and precision. The sharp, straight nose suggests refinement, and a person who values precision and integrity and fairness. Porcelain skin, or skin that is very fair, is another way the metal element expresses. Sometimes shiny skin, but clear skin is suggestive of the metal element. The lower lip is also the large intestine meridian, how we give, how we let go. The metal element in regard to the eyes has a very precise detail-orientedness. So now that you know the physical traits of the metal element, the shape and personalities, what are some of the strengths? The metal element character type is very disciplined, strategic. They have a strong sense of justice and excellent organization. There is a natural ability to note details, detail-orientedness. On the other side, it could be too rigid or emotionally detached. Too much metal can manifest as a kind of rigidity, too precise or aloof. Metal character type people tend to be sensitive, if you will. Oftentimes they have thinner skin or they have a sensitive kind of skin. And so the aloofness is about protecting themselves from too much excess stimulation or too much excess energy. There is a tendency to have a preference for how things should be, or things are right or things are wrong. So like a metal element person can be associated with being a snob or being too precise. They tend to like finer quality things because, for example, having cashmere on the skin feels good, but having merino or other materials that are more scratchy they're physically sensitive to that. And so they can come across as being particular or snobby, but it's not out of snobbery, it's out of what feels right on their skin, and they tend to having sensitive skin. The skin in Chinese medicine is the third lung, and it is how we, certainly we breathe through our skin a lot as well. And so a person with a strong element has a sensitivity within the lung, large intestine, and the skin. They're also potentially very inspiring. It is, I would say, the hardest element because it's associated with grief and decline. The fall season, right? We've had this large summer season, and then it's the end of that, and there can be a grief that goes along with that if the summer was inconsistent or we didn't get out and play enough during the summer. So it's sort of being called in, if you will, in the evening to come in from playing outside, and with that there's a downturning energy, which can be hard, especially in our culture of type A personalities and the tendency to go. So the metal element is also oftentimes the most beautiful. The cheekbones are part of the metal element, and they could be considered to be the shoulders of the face, how something hangs on them, and it's about self-confidence and how willing you are to express yourself in a appropriate or refined way. Large cheekbones are associated with having a lot of self-confidence and self-assurance. Oftentimes a person who has naturally high cheekbones are respected just naturally. If there is extra padding on the cheekbones, cheekbones, there's a softness to it, but if the cheekbones are not softened by extra flesh, they can sometimes be harsh or can appear that way in a way that you don't mess with them. You don't tell them what to do, certainly. They don't respect that or like it because they're so in line with themselves. They know what's appropriate for themselves. There's a lot of pride that's associated with the cheeks and the cheekbones and the middle element, and knowing of how to be what's appropriate for oneself. There's a refinement to the character who has those high cheekbones and a strong middle element. Cheekbones show bossiness, and oftentimes with the aristocratic cheekbones, a person tends to be in charge or can easily be in charge. But they also need time to reflect and have time to themselves from which to approach life. So too much middle element can be too much precision, too by the book. It can be rigid or stuck or too precise. And that can lead to potentially issues of not being able to freely breathe because it rules the lungs, or the inability to let go because it rules the large intestines. I once had a woman I treated, and she was very precise. She knew exactly what to do. I had the impression that every hair on her head was exactly in the right space. She arrived punctually exactly at the right time. She always looked together. Her shirt was buttoned just so, her clothes were pressed appropriately. They all matched. And one of her issues was these massive headaches. And she said that her head hurt. And one of the suggestions I gave to hopefully inspire a little bit of loosening her up was I asked her about the dishes in her sink. And I asked her if she could possibly not do the dishes one night, like leave the dishes in the sink overnight, which would be fine for an earth person. But for a metal element person, that is torture, because it's this thing that's not yet done, this thing that needs to be done. You know, you wake up in the morning and you have dirty dishes. It's like the whole day is off. So one of the tasks that I asked her if she could employ or experiment or even contemplate was this idea of being imperfect, leaving some dirty dishes in the sink. Could she relax around that? Could she be a little bit flexible in this area? Could that lead to a little bit of flexibility? Whether or not she did, it didn't matter. It was just the idea of getting around the possibility of something being off or being out of alignment a little bit or being not exactly right. On the other side of it, the metal element is what gives us accuracy and precision, and these things are necessary, especially I imagine in areas like building a road or engineering or building a house. If something's wonky donkey or off a little bit, that could throw everything off. And so the metal element is essential for doing things right, doing things properly. With the woman who was so precise about everything, the question was there something that she could let go of? Is there something that she could let go of in terms of offering some relaxation so that her head didn't hurt so much? Just a little bit of ease and flow. The large intestine is ultimately responsible for, of course, taking out the trash, so to say, of the body, but also another huge aspect of its job is the reabsorption of water and making sure that there is some fluidity in the balance of things. How is your metal element? How are your cheekbones? Does this resonate with you? What's one aspect of yourself that is like or unlike the metal element? Which element do you think you are? Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for your attention and time. I would love to connect with you if you felt like commenting about your experience, if you try any of these things that I offer. I hope that this information has helped and enriched your life. And if you are inspired to share it with others, I would be grateful. From my wise heart to yours, thank you.